Welcome to Poemify podcast, the poetry and art talk show, where we celebrate the beauty and diversity of African art. Our show features interviews with African artists, poets, and other creatives who draw inspiration from the rich cultural heritage of Africa. In each episode, our host engages in a lively discussion with our guests, delving into the inspiration behind their art, the cultural significance of African work, and the role of poetry and arts in promoting and preserving African culture. So, if you're a lover of arts, poetry, or African culture, tune into our podcast today and join us on this exciting journey of discovery and creativity. Once again, welcome to Poemify Podcasts.
Hi.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Oluwatosin.
Yes. Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. Loud and clear.
Okay, good to have you here, Peace. Sorry for the delay.
It's okay.
Thank you very much.
We're ready to start.
Yes, I
you
am.
ready?
So excited. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right. So let's get into it then. All right. Hello. Good to have you here, Peace, on Poemify podcast. I am so happy to have you on today's episode. So for those who don't know whom you are, can you just give a brief introduction? Who are you?
Oh, thank you so much for having me on this podcast today, Oluwatosin. I'm really elated to be here. Hello, everyone that can hear the sound of my voice. You're listening to Seke Peace Reuben, Seke Peace Reuben. I am a pharmacist, a brilliant author of one published book and one ebook. I am a writing coach and a social entrepreneur. So, yeah.
Wow. Nice to meet you. Nice to know what you do. That's a whole lot. A pharmacist. Wow.
Yeah,
A writer, a coach. You really have a lot you're handling. And for a lady, I really do admire that.
Oh, thank you so much.
Motivating. Thanks so much. All right. So the first question, can you tell us about your journey as a non-fiction author? What inspired you to start writing, and how did you develop your craft over time?
Yeah, Johnny. You know what they always say, that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So
Yes.
I've always had a flair for writing. As a matter of fact, as far back as my JS2, I think I was around 10 or so. I realized that I had this very strong thing for reading, and then for trying to express my ideas. So I can be very imaginative. I have this very versatile imagination. So as far back as just two, I used to have this storybook, so to speak, where I would write, pen and paper, and then I would get my exercise book going around the class. So everybody wants to read the story every week. Every month they are looking forward to the next story. Sometimes the book will get missing, but what did I care? I'll just go ahead and keep writing. So that continued through secondary school. So I was even fortunate to have won a couple of essay contests and all of that, finalist in essay competitions. Yeah, but eventually I left secondary school and I went into the university shortly after, and I realized that I got more knowledge. I realized that I wanted to become an author.
Okay.
So that has been like a big dream for me, but I don't know how to go about it because I do not exactly have role models and mentors like that could actually guide me through the path. So I told the self-taught path pathway for quite some time before I got more knowledge, and in the midst of the lockdown. So because I was doing a medical course, I did not exactly have so much time, but I still paid attention. I was still writing. I was still trying to flex my creative muscles. But in the course of the lockdown, that was when I got opened up to write book writing, getting trained. So before now, I did not even know writers get trained, that they were training and all of that. But in the course of the lockdown, I got more involved digitally and I got to know about all that. And yes, I jumped on it. So in 2020, I had my first official writing training. I registered for one of those trainings with a coach. And eventually, I realized that apart from learning, I knew so much that I could also teach other people. So I got into the writing coaching thing where I would, still virtual. And how I talking about, okay, so that's how my journey has been. Yes, that's it.
Wow, thank you so much. That's quite inspiring, having to juggle up reading like a pharmacist and writing. Like, it's a whole lot, because you have to think of a lot of things. Say, wow, I give you your flowers, you deserve them.
I've always believed that going to school, like education, is not just about class. In fact, for me, the activities beyond the classroom counted more. So I made sure I was still acing my grades in class. I decided not to be left out with other things, my other interests. So I really got involved, and I'm glad that I was also surrounded with people who thought the same way and also encouraged me to go for my thing.
Yes, I'm so glad you took the bold step to pursue what you wanted, despite you get paid, how the Nigerian mentality, Shina, medicine line now, you get money, no need to enter waiting you define for there and all that. But then people would have shut their dreams up, but it is possible to do 2 or more things at once, as long as you know what you're doing, you are consistent and you're goal driven. And
I think it's a matter of priority.
Exactly.
For some people, they are just scared that if they get involved with other things, they'll get distracted and they would fail, and a whole lot of phobias that do not really exist except in the mind. So there's this thing I usually tell people. I tell them that, only when you are lazy you would fail, because if you're up and doing, the word is proactive. Actually, if you're proactive and you know how to set your priority right part time, you'd be able to juggle even 100 things at a time, even as an undergraduate. So being a student is not even an excuse to pursue your dreams or your other interests because you want to. You can still be a first class student and end up being amazing. Sports, politics, writing, creativity, a skill, and all of that. I'm not the only one. We are many, actually, even in pharmacy school, that we are doing a lot of amazing stuff besides reading a medical related course.
Wow, this warms my heart. It really does. It does. Okay. So the Nigerian literature has a rich history and has produced renowned authors. So how do you see your work contributing to these literary traditions, and what themes and aspects of Nigerian culture do you explore in your writing?
Okay. Yes, so it is no news that we are currently in the post-pandemic era that really changed the face of the economy, and then we slowly moved from the traditional, conventional buying and selling physical exchange economy to the digital economy. So that is what I am more about. So I've done my research and having been a beneficiary of it. So that is where I have come to pitch my tent in the digital economy. So that's where my work is. My work revolves around the digital economy. But before then, I said yes, Nigerian authors are wild. Remember, I said I started off reading a lot, and before I even started, trying to find the expression too, because I was inspired. So my dad is in the discipline or the art field. So he used to have a lot of books, like a wide collection of Nigerian authors from his generation. So growing up, I read a lot of works by Wole Soyinka. I read from Chinua Achebe. I read stuff about Spartans and Greece and all of those very beautiful histories, the gods and all of those. So I think I have a multicultural background. I was inspired by multicultural backgrounds and the writing style, how they are being engaged. Even though I did not end up basing in fiction, I still, to a large extent, I still incorporate storytelling into even my non-fiction works, and it just gets engaging, or I get the same amount of engagement, all right, even in my non-fiction art of writing. So I feel like I know that my works, both the one that has been published and the ones to come, would contribute largely to the digital economy that is knowledge based. So I don't just write because I'm writing to feel good, but I write so that people can actually be inspired, they can be transformed, and they could actually translate that knowledge into profits.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So the title of my book is How to Host Profitable Virtual Events, a 12-step blueprint for impact, profits, and income. It's just about the digital economy and how it can be maximized. So even as people are still trying to ease into the reality of social media and all of that, a few years ago, my mom would always be like, "You're always pressing your phone. Stop pressing your phone. Don't go and fail in school. Oh, every time they press phone. I saw you they press phone. They read for that pharmacy school where you did."
Yes.
Yes. So many people do not understand these things, but my work and that of so many other young Nigerians is we are trying to contribute to how we can actually enlighten and inform people that yes, there are benefits in the digital economy, and apart from just chatting and trying to show off, you can actually use the social media and other virtual platforms to share knowledge, to build a personal brand, and to make money while at it.
Okay. Thank you so much. Yes. So could you share your creative process when crafting a new work of nonfiction? How do you develop your characters, your plots, your setting? And are there any particular rituals or techniques you employ to enhance your storytelling?
Yes. So I'm going to summarize this. It's a whole lot, but I'm a writing coach, so there's a style. So there's a style I usually employ. There are several styles. I can be versatile because in fact that's what works in this day, because you can't just stick to one thing at all times and expect a different result. So you try different things to try to get a different result. Basically, for my creative process, I use the Towasi process. Towasi, I'm going to explain that. So the T there, the Towasi is spelled your normal TOWER and a hyphen C. It's an acronym for T. T is for think.
Okay.
So when I get inspired, or when I receive inspiration for something, meanwhile my inspiration could come from different sources. It could just be off a paragraph in a book I'm reading. It could just be a eureka moment. It could just be me walking on the road and the events and incidents, and something just sparks up in my head. So one of the first things I do is to jot down. So back to T for think. When I'm inspired by something, or I want to find an expression for a subject matter, I think. T for think. I think deeply about it. I try to look for experiences, try to connect the dots based on what I already know. So in that process, so most times I prefer to think on paper, whether it's an actual pen and paper or my digital notepad, especially when I'm on the go. I just try to think as it is coming. I just jot. I don't try to edit or anything. I just do a brain dump. So the next one is organize. So after trying to bring up those thoughts and doing that brain dump, I come back to those ideas and try to do the sorting, organize them, outline, like form an outline, so I can know exactly what is necessary for this piece and what I should discard. Then W is write. This is the point where I start to flesh out those ideas, try to form sentences, form paragraphs out of those out of my outline. Right, it's more like adding flesh. So at this point too, this is where if I want to do research, I also I do my research and add up those facts. Of course, I have to give credit to whatever sources I'm getting it from. I always do that to avoid plagiarism, because I strongly detest plagiarism. So I also try not to, do what I would not encourage other people. So I just write, I flesh out my work, develop them into, just give it substance, so to speak. Yeah, so now that's TOW. Next is E, edit. So one of the things I try to do, even though these days sometimes on your toes kind of demand can make you want to write and edit. When I'm say I'm trying to do write out, say I'm writing a book, for example, I'm writing content for my trainings, I don't write and edit. So I just write as much as, so that I don't interrupt my creative flow. I just try to write and write and write and write as much as I can. Then I come back, I take a break, come back to do the editing. Now, sometimes the editing is even more tedious than the writing, because having built a level of credibility, you just have to stick to that standard that you've created or raised for yourself. Of course, you're not the only one people are reading from. So even if your writers most of them are not trained formally, they can always spot this. They always know when something is missing, whether it's grammar, it's spelling. They might not be able to be specific to issue it out, but based on intuition, they just know that something is missing somewhere. They might not be able to correct it that one day, but see that feeling that something is missing, and if they keep getting it every now and then, you just lose your credibility. That's all the things I'm making. So I try to take my time in my editing. Apart from manual editing, I also use tools like Grammarly and all of that. All right, Grammarly and so there are some other features on my phone that I could know when I put on my data. It could auto spot, like on Google Docs, could spot some errors and help you, as pointers, so you could make your corrections and all of that. So after editing, I use for revising. Revising is like proofreading. So you've done your editing, you're just coming back to ensure that everything is in order. So if there's any adjustment you need to make. So even at this stage of proofreading too, this is where I can also involve a third party, like a teammate or someone I trust their judgment, all right, that can actually give me constructive feedback on what I've done. So after revising, I know that I'm good to go. After revising, I just get everything together. I know that I'm ready to publish. So that's hyphen and C. C is for conversion. So basically, any form of, we have 4 major kinds of content: text, audio, then there is video, and then graphics and all of that. So it's after you've gotten your scripts right, you can now convert. So after going through the TOA process to get my script ready, I can now go ahead to convert it, whether I want to publish as text or I want to publish in an audio format, like do a recording while reading through, or I want to convert and make a video out of that content. So that's how it is for me, basically. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I learned something, the TAC. I never knew that was something. I never knew. So thank you for simplifying it for us. I've noted it down, but I have my pen and my book here. So they give me two. I'll be like, let me try the TAC technique.
Yeah. Actually, it's something that anybody can jump on, even if you are like a newbie. If you master this process, you're good to go. Because a lot of people just mix things up, which It doesn't have to be complicated. See, writing is not something that that is meant for probably some people that are supposed to have fallen from the sky. But in fact, we should all be writers because we all communicate. So writing is an essential skill every and anyone should actually take up so they can communicate their ideas and all of that. It's not something that, it's not as difficult as people tend to paint it, actually. Although it's obvious that some people are better at it than others, but that's because of the level of practice that they've invested into it, if you ask me.
Yes. Okay, so what challenges, if any, have you faced as a Nigerian non-fiction writer? Are there any challenges you faced as a Nigerian non-fiction writer?
Yes.
Okay,
It's
please,
easy
can you tell
for
me?
so it's easy for sometimes you just have to put in more energy into crafting your pieces than someone who is doing fiction. So it's a general thing that people get more captivated or are easily captivated, right, to read to the end, to want to continue with fictional pieces than non-fiction pieces, because most times, which is wrong, people feel like non-fiction should just be academic based, but it's not always true. So one of the challenges is getting more people to engage, like probably to the end. So you have to put in more energy to make sure that it's actually value loaded for people to want to pay attention. Yes, and get it has to be verbal. Even if you're writing, permit me to say, even if you're writing something that is not because it's a story, even if it's not valuable in quotes, because it's a story, people will tend to gravitate more towards that. So that's a challenge, all right, because it costs you to have to spend more time, all right, investing more time, more energy. So basically that's the challenge. Another challenge for me is power. So because for me, I employ both traditional and digital tools for my processes, and there's this power challenge every now and then. You're trying to every now and then you're looking for power. You're trying to charge your devices, and sometimes if you want to subscribe, excuse me, sometimes payment, trying to subscribe for services, they're trying to tell you your payments cannot even go through and all of that. Yes, that's it.
Okay, all right. Okay, so thank you for sharing the challenges. So how have you navigated this the issues like in non-fiction writing, such as publishing, reaching to a wider audience, finding recognition, especially as a non-fiction writer?
Yes, my number one plan always is consistency. So first of all, you just have to be consistent to your message. In fact, begin to having a message. So you don't just write amiss. So you have to have a message first, even if you're expressing through non-fiction. You need to have a message, and then you stay consistent with that message. Yeah, it's possible that you would evolve over time, introduce new stuff, but you just have to stay consistent. Not today you're talking about digital economy, tomorrow you're talking about politics, next tomorrow you're talking about sports. People won't take you seriously. Or if you're able to plant yourself in a particular industry per se, in a niche, and then you stay consistent, and then you always deliver value. That's one of the ways. Then yes, I also infuse storytelling into my non-fictional pieces to improve its engagement. So in as much as I write non-fiction, I also use storytelling devices, all right, and other literary devices that would help to make my pieces more engaging when reading. Talking about publicity, that's why it's important to have a team, because especially when you're starting out and people do not exactly know you yet, or like your chaotic factor is not as strong, or you're still building your chaotic factor. Chaotic is being known, liked, and trusted. It can be a bit difficult, because especially when you're publishing on social media, you might feel like people are not exactly following me, people are not engaging. But you just have to stay consistent, because you'll just be surprised that when it's time, like when it's your time and the spotlight comes on you, you'll be amazed at how much people have actually been listening. So that's why you don't have to get discouraged, or you just have to keep at it. So having a team helps with publicity, because you begin to having people who believe in you and what you do, and they trust you enough to start helping you put word about your work out there, and even probably referring you to persons who would need your services or who would need your expertise. So that's one way I navigate the publicity challenge. I start with a team of people who trust me. Then when a group of people keep putting out stuff, like it's more like they're always calling attention, people will actually start listening. And when they come in and find out you're doing amazing stuff, it's natural, and they would want to reciprocate, also put word out for you. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So the next question: how important do you believe it is for Nigerian non-fiction to reflect and address social and political issues?
Yes, it's very important. So I said writing is a form of communication. So in addition to having really amazing public speakers who are out there putting out, their faces and speaking against stuff, activism and all of that, it's also important that even through writing, all right, non-fiction, both fiction and non-fiction, people also lend their voices. All right, so I feel like this thing where they say people do not read or Africans don't read is a big misconception, because I know a lot of people that read. Like, we read a lot. We read a whole lot. So it's important that people are also educated, get to know more about their rights, get to know how they can, political participation, get to know more about how they can, lend their, or contribute their own quota of support in creating a better society, through social responsibility programs and volunteering and all of that, carrying out your civic responsibilities, all of that. Yes, writing can contribute to all of that development. So I strongly believe it's important that we all learn that non-fiction can also be used as an expression to address those issues. Of course, we have people who are doing that already, like our newspaper columns, all right, our e-blogs, our blogs and all of that. And these people are not necessarily storytellers, but they have large followings, all right, and they still lend their voice on these issues, and people are guided aright.
Thank you. So in what ways does your work engage with these aspects of the society? That's the social and political issues. In what way do you see your work engaging?
Okay, so closely connected to my brand Spice is an organization, Elevate Africa, where we do not just elevate Africa. We are trying to contribute our quota of helping young people in the society, especially those in high schools, and with time we'll move on to undergraduates, to want to bridge the gap between learning in the classroom and building life and character skills. So one of the things we do is we write, all right? We write, and our writings are mostly education based. So I use non-fiction through this channel to speak up about education and how young people can actually maximize their stay, or can find direction, can begin to find direction and contribute their quota to economic growth right from high school. They don't have to wait till they've graduated from the university. No, you can start finding direction. I strongly believe, because I found direction right from high school. I believe I can use that experience to also guide other people and encourage them that education is important, as well as, but while you are at it, it's also important if you can build up your life skills and character skills, all of that.
That's nice. That's nice. Okay, so I know you mentioned earlier Willie Shonka, like going through his works and all, but are there other specific Nigerian authors or literary figures who have influenced your writing style or approach to non-fiction storytelling? So have this shaped your perspective as a non-fiction writer?
Yes. Someone that's really inspired me, I have a couple of them. So another aspect I'm also interested in is entrepreneurship, and for that, the likes of Akin Alabi, the author of Small Business Big Money and How to Sell to Nigerians. That man is good. Like, it's how he infuses storytelling into like business storytelling with non-fiction, and then the message is passed across in the simplest, most engaging way possible. Like, it's really beautiful. Another person in the writing industry that has been an inspiration for me is Emeka Nobis. Yes. And then Enosam. So these are all Nigerians, Africans doing amazing things. Moving over to someone that has also influenced me, or I love to read her, is our beloved Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Wow, she's an amazing personality. So these are some persons that have really contributed to, my writing style, because I just love their values. I love that they can still speak up, alright, strictly address certain issues, and then it is true writing, and it can still be as engaging as someone who would want to use another format of this expression.
Yes, thank you so much. All right, so the next question, the portrayal of women, gender dynamics, and female feminism has been a recurring theme in the Nigerian literature. So how do you incorporate these themes into your own work, and what messages or discussions do you hope to spark through your non-fiction writing?
Actually, as much as possible, I try to keep my feminism opinion to myself, because I feel like that word feminism, the whole movement has been bastardized in Nigeria. Because it's more of a gender war than the real intent of what feminism is supposed to stand for. Because in the Nigerian context, feminism is generally engenders, like it revolves around conversation of probably in a marriage, for example. But that's the most common place where this whole thing is really sparked. Who should take care of children, who should pay bills, and all of that. But that's really not what feminism is about. I think feminism is about encouraging women to break glass ceilings in different spheres. It's more like trying to encourage women to, pursue their ambitions and be the best they can be, get to the top as much as they want to, and not really about who should be paying bills, who should take care of the children, who should be a nanny, who should wash plates, and all of those very unnecessary conversations. But I personally, I love to see women excel. I really, I love to see women. Of course, that's I am also put to become one of those women. I love the fact that we have likes of our mama, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, doing very amazing stuff even at the international levels. We also have like Ngozi, Chimamanda Adichie. Recently we have Toby Amusan. Even our most recent Kukatin Queen, Hilda
Hilda
Bassi.
Bassi.
These are women daring stuff and doing a lot of things, inspiring other women, inspiring change, not just in their families or in their localities, but around the world. So in times to come, I hope to be able to actually spark up those conversations where I am encouraging women to become more and do more. So currently my works do not really gravitate towards a particular gender. I write like I'm writing to everyone, because I believe that if a man can read this and run with the application and make success out of it, a lady can as well do that. So I don't try to spoon feed one gender. No,
Yeah.
I write to everyone.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you so much. All right. So, what do you hope readers will take away from your stories? Are there any particular emotions, ideas, messages you aim to convey through your non-fiction writings?
Yes.
Okay.
So I earlier said I write around the digital economy.
Yes.
Right, how people. So I am a preacher of the fact that you can actually create impact, make profits. You can actually create impact, influence, and then make profits from the digital economy by utilizing your skill sets. Yes, by utilizing your skill sets. So these skills do not just have to be soft skills, could also be expert skills at what you're doing. To just be able to find the thin line where the digital economy meets whatever it is you're up to, and then you're able to spread word. So it's like you're doing something amazing in your corner, then you're able to amplify your work in the digital economy, thereby attracting attention, brand, and creating impact, building influence, and then you make money while at it.
Okay, thank you.
It doesn't even matter the industry, whatever industry you're in, you can actually maximize these things.
All right, thank you. So, are there any aspirations or goals as a Nigerian non-fiction writer? And what advice do you have for upcoming or wannabe non-fiction writers?
Yes, my aspiration is to be read internationally. I want to be a global. In the coming years, I want to see myself as a global best-selling author. All right. And I strongly believe it's possible. Like I said, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. And because I have started this journey, I know I'm going to finish strong and get to the end where I'm aspiring to be. Could you repeat the question? Sorry, so I could get the other part.
Okay. All right. Any aspiration or goals as a Nigerian non-fiction writer, and what advice do you have for other wannabes non-fiction writers, people who be non-fiction writers?
Okay, so my advice is be prepared first. You don't just jump into the public because you feel like I think I mentioned earlier that I had a flair, but that did not stop me from reading, from training. Like I've invested so much in books, in trainings, in volunteering to actually be great at what I do. I do stuff and people are like, wow, that's amazing. So I had my preparation phase. So my advice is that you should be diligent even when you are preparing. It's good to want to, it's good to want to go out there and put yourself out there, put your work out there. But I also advocate for whatever is worth doing well. So you should actually take your time. Like it's not a competition. It's not about who puts out a published work or who is out there first. It's about being able to build capacity to stay.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you should prepare as much as you can at every opportunity. You should prepare. Secondly, keep learning. Truth is that we live in a dynamic world that change is inevitable. Even as a writer, the tools that were used even 2 years ago, some of them are obsolete. Some certain styles, all right, that people used to rave about, it's, things are changing on a daily basis. So you have to be able to have an open mind that is ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn, so that you can also, you will not be left behind, or you actually be able to stay ahead and have an edge even over others. The truth is that it's when you have an edge over others that you can actually, and when you're very excellent at what you do, you can stand up and say you want to be a coach. For example, one of my aspirations too is to be an author. I want to be that go-to person, in addition to just to go-to person for those who want to publish global best-selling books too. So I'm also building up myself in that light. Finally, find yourself in communities that will help you grow. So I mentioned having a team earlier. So in addition to having a team, I am also a member of several writing communities, and I'm still building myself to be part of even more exclusive ones where of people doing real stuff and excelling at what they do. Young people, by the way. So these are ways that you could, this is my advice to upcoming persons. Be prepared, be open-minded to learn, unlearn, and relearn, because we live in an evolving, dynamic world, and also belong to communities. Community is always important. These are people that will actually carry you along to help you know what. All right, so you don't build in isolation. Actually, in a community.
Yes, thank you so much, Peace. So you've all heard, no man is an island of himself. Even if you have the flair to write, please find a community to build you up. So in turn, you should volunteer. Just put yourself out there to learn. You can never ever miss it. And one thing that I take home through this conversation, in this episode, is still the TAR-C. The TAR stands for think, organize, write, edit, revise, and convert. So please find the technique that works for you and be consistent in it, and God will see you through. Thank you so much, Peace, for your time. Thank you for your advice.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
And I goal and aspiration will pan out perfectly well.
Yes.
Thank you so much. All right, that's a wrap.
I would like to add this for those who would like to learn how to improve their writing skills. I have an ebook. All right. It's titled. It's a series actually, but volume 1 will be out in this July. It's titled For Every Writer. So for volume 1, we'll be exploring the fundamentals of writing. So I see a lot of people, making very silly mistakes. But in this book, we're going to explore the fundamentals and how you can help build yourself from there. When you're trying to explore your creative puzzles. So you can get connected to me via my social media handles, and we can, you can get a copy.
All right. So please, where can they get the book from? Can you just tell us your social media handle?
Yes, at Seke Peace Reuben on Facebook, on LinkedIn. Yes, then you can connect to me at bit.ly/connect with Seke Peace on WhatsApp.
All right, thank you so much. I hope you got that, but if you did not get it, can you just please go over the social media handles one more time?
Yes, Seke Peace Reuben. Seke is Seke, then Peace Peace Reuben. Seke Peace Reuben.
Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Seke. So if you are interested in writing, to know the ropes, For Every Writer should be one book you should get and follow. So please search her up on Facebook and LinkedIn, Seke Peace Reuben, and then connect with her on WhatsApp, and you would not regret it. Thank you so much, Peace.
Thank
God
you
bless
too.
you.
Thank you for having me, Tosin. Do have a wonderful.
You too. You too. I'm elated to have
Bye.
had you on today's episode. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye.